Hey, so this is Dishant from Unica University Common Application. I recommend you to watch AAU television.
AAU TV is the place to be for every person in higher education in Africa. Better be there or be nowhere.
Continuez de regarder la télé et surtout sur le AAU.
Keep watching it and it will change the way you interact with higher education on the continent. AAU, great job.
I want to tell you that AAU television is fantastic, it's educative, it's informative, and it is a must for anybody who is interested in higher education in Africa.
When I was in Accra last year, I did an interview on this TV. It's a very important mouthpiece.
It's a data, it's a bank of all we need for the development of higher education in Africa.
People should make an effort to view it because it discusses very current issues of development across the continent.
I believe that the station will continue to promote the overall development of Africa, particularly in the tertiary education sector.
AAU TV provides a platform and shares a lot of information to a broader audience. So we wish you all the best and please continue serving AAU TV,
the voice of higher education in Africa.
Good day and thank you for tuning into the AAU TV Mid-Week news coming to you from the headquarters of the Association of African Universities, your trusted voice of higher education in Africa. And my name is Mamie Kwauta Kwanyame.
I am Ajaman Otredako.
And now in our headlines, African universities urge to increase research support for courses under social sciences, humanities and arts. And also, study reveals that not eating enough of some 6 healthy food is associated with higher cardiovascular disease and global deaths.
In our Discovery story, Nigerian innovator builds solar-powered electric vehicles. In our sports story, South Africa's Women's World Cup players given more money after standoff over pay disparity. Please stay with us for more news in detail after the short break. We'll be right back.
During the Conference of Rectors, Vice-Chancellors and Presidents of African Universities, COREVIB 2023, held in Windhoek, Namibia, some senior academics were divided about the value of ranking universities in Africa. The differences came to fore on July 4th in a plenary session, during which Leigh Kamolins, the Director of Analytics and Evaluation of the London-based firm that produces QS World University Rankings, Kwareli Simons, presented an update on the rankings of universities in Africa.
The discussion came shortly after the release of the First Times Higher Education Sub-Saharan African University Rankings 2023 in June, which elicited a diversity of views both in favor and against the rankings from within higher education sector. University leaders from institutions across the world, including Africa, had initially expressed concerns that the current global university rankings often result in an unhealthy use of competition that reproduces and reinforces social inequity and global science inequalities. At the COREVIP meeting, one school of thought appeared to support institutional ratings and viewed rankings as a critical benchmark universities could use to break quality barriers in terms of increasing research output, citation, the quality of teaching, and attracting talented staff and students. The second school of thought urged African universities to be cautious of ranking metrics that could not be comprehensively measured or even understood by academia. The director of strategy at the Mohammed VI Polytechnic University in Morocco, Professor Rashid Siraj, said the new ranking metrics such as sustainability and the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals (SDGs) are hard to measure in Africa, as indicators show African countries are struggling to meet most of the SDG targets. He argued that sustainability indicators are not only complex and hard to measure, but in most cases, it is hard to verify the validity of the data that are provided to the rankers. Siraj questioned how universities in countries that are far behind in meeting SDG targets could be accurately measured through indicators that are not even included within their scope and responsibility. According to him, it is like shooting in the dark, while other delegates argue that universities may not have policies on human rights issues or even have opinions about their carbon footprints.
Meanwhile, according to a new study led by Obed Ogega, a researcher and a program manager at the African Academy of Sciences, Africa needs a dedicated research platform to mobilize and coordinate individuals and institutional research support for social sciences, humanities, and art to enhance research leadership capacity and minimize research inequalities in Africa.
And establish networks, resources, and systems. According to a report by the authors, the role and work by the SSHA researchers across Africa are likely to be amplified and can be positioned in discourses around general research capacity strengthening and support in Africa. The study, commissioned in 2020 by the African Academy of Sciences (AAS) and released earlier in June, set out to address the prevailing research inequities and challenges in Africa in the SSHA and related fields. The researchers conducted a survey including 670 scholars from SSHA disciplines across Africa and held focus group discussions with experts and practitioners engaged in research leadership and capacity building in SSHA and analyzed the strengths and impact of the scholarship in SSHA fields. The study found that 42.4% of the scholars surveyed received at least one type of research funding from their universities, while a paltry 11% were satisfied with the mentorship support service offered by their universities. Highlighting that funding and mentorship were key elements of capacity building, the author stated that there is an urgent need for more investment to advocate for and enhance research support for SSHA field and ultimately optimize the contribution of SSHA researchers to sustainable development in Africa. The researchers also found significant regional differences in terms of authorship in peer-reviewed journals.
Without doubt that the African research landscape faces a myriad of challenges, and these challenges have undoubtedly resulted in an unequal continent where we find ourselves in a continent where there's really no equality when it comes to research and research capacity. And it's even worse when it comes to the social sciences, humanities, and arts. Now, undoubtedly, STEM have proven beyond measure that it is really relevant, but maybe it is time we also consider putting some focus on the social sciences, the humanities, and the arts. And I'm actually very glad that since 2020, the AAS has actually been advocating for research equality on the continent. So, Ajaman, before we actually even delve into that, can you run us through why there's a need now to boost research support for social sciences, humanities, and arts?
Well, it's very important that we give that kind of attention to the social sciences, humanities, and arts in terms of their research contribution and consolidating everybody within that sector to contribute to that fold of research for development. And that's the reason why, the World Bank has been an ardent supporter of development in Africa.
Yeah.
And one of the areas that the World Bank over the past decade had been supporting has been science, technology, engineering, and mathematics.
Exactly.
And the social science aspect, I would just pick the very first S, the science, and it's been more towards physical sciences than social sciences.
Yeah.
And the reason being that Africa is like a year behind its deemed state of development. So infrastructure-wise, technology, innovation, we were behind. So the World Bank thought to, invest in research from universities which are more into scientific, physical sciences development, technology development, engineering and mathematics, so that we can facilitate and grow ×3 of what we were in the past to meet up with the global standard. Today, it has come to bear through the help of the African Academy of Sciences that there is a gap, a huge gap, that has to be filled when it comes to the social sciences. They've been left behind in terms of their contribution. With regards to global citations, they mentioned it at 3.5% globally, to 0.7%. And they are far apart. Universities in Africa haven't got that kind of platform that brings them together to contribute to their publications, also a knowledge repository. That is why this call came from the stakeholders who are clamoring, I would say it's a solemn clamoring, that they need to be given a platform to consolidate all the aspects within the social sciences and arts area, so they could now share the knowledge, share the expertise, and build something great for the discipline. Another point that they want to prove.
Well, I was actually very glad when you brought up the issue of the World Bank, but just to clarify it a bit, in the World Bank's various thematic areas that it works with, there are a few parts that also focuses on the social sciences. So they have a thematic area called the Applied Social Sciences. They do something on education, but I agree with you, because most of the centers of excellence established by the World Bank, DAD, Aurora, and the others are mainly focused on the STEM courses. However, there are some that are also tackling some of the social sciences, but I can't put it on the same level as the STEM courses. But I'm actually a bit concerned why we barely see funding agencies, universities putting a lot of funds to support courses like the humanities, social sciences, and art. Is it that we in the continent believe that these courses do not in any way contribute to the development of a nation or a continent?
Well, there isn't anyone that could be tagged with the arrow of blame with regards to whose fault is it.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Because for as long as I can remember, I've always been told that STEM is the ish.
Yeah.
STEM is the ish.
Yeah.
So if you really want to go to school and offer a relevant course, then you should go in for STEM. But if all of us are offering, or if all of us are studying STEM in school, who should study the sociology, physiology, the communication, and other courses? Because every course complements each other. I don't know if it says that people think without STEM, all the other courses are irrelevant, or I don't know.
Ideally, your point is great. I mean, that should be how we're seeing it from that perspective, giving everybody that very equal stake and that same push. However, there is a disparity, and the disparity is in the sense that we are influenced by other developing countries, the likes of Singapore, the likes of China, the Japan. These people were all into science, technology. Japan was known for being one of tech giants. Singapore, tech giant, Indonesia, and co. And if you see how they grew with science from this point to that level, you would then be influenced that, well, I think I have to invest so much in STEM than invest so much in the social science, because social science does not make any difference in terms of development.
It doesn't.
It makes it makes an impact when it comes to human transformation.
And is that not development?
It is, to an extent. Ata Chereza, who is who represents the Makerere University in Uganda, made a point that during the time of COVID, even though medicinal innovation made an impact, another impact came from the fact that we also call for behavioral change of the people. So, I mean, if you weigh the two, science, technology, engineering, mathematics has a stake. However, they are just advocating and pleading that as you rise with STEM, keep an eye on the SSHA and give them a ground to leverage also, so we don't leave anybody behind. So in priority-wise, they may go down, but in terms of giving a balance, they should be given a concentration.
They deserve a balance.
Absolutely.
They really deserve a balance.
Absolutely.
So the SSHA courses really deserve a balance, and we wish to see a continent where there's equality in terms of research and research capacity. Now, health news is up next.
Now, health news, a study led by Buckmaster University and Hamilton Health Sciences researchers at the Population Research Health Institute has found that consuming fruits, vegetables, legumes, nuts, fish, and a whole-fat dairy product is key to lowering the risk of CVD, including heart attacks and strokes. The study further revealed that a healthy diet can be achieved in various ways, such as including moderate amounts of whole grains or unprocessed meat.
The study also found that a healthy diet can be achieved in various ways, such as including moderate amounts of whole grains or unprocessed meats. Previous and similar research has focused on Western countries and diets that combined harmful ultra-processed foods with nutrient-dense foods. This research was global in scope and focused on foods commonly considered to be healthy. The World Health Organization estimates nearly 18 million people died from COVID in 2019, representing 32% of all global deaths. Of these deaths, 85% were due to heart attacks and strokes. PHRI researchers and their global collaborators analyzed data from 245,000 people and 80 countries from multiple studies. The results were published in the European Heart Journal on July 6th. Researchers derived a diet score from PHRI's ongoing large-scale global prospective urban and rural epidemiological study, PURE, then replicated that in 5 independent studies to measure health outcomes in different world regions and in people with and without prior COVID. Senior author and principal investigator of PURE, Salim Yusuf, indicated that previous diet scores, including the Eat-Lancet planetary diet and the Mediterranean diet, tested the relationship of diet to COVID and death mainly in Western countries. The PURE Healthy Diet score included a good representation of high, middle, and low-income countries. As well as being truly global, the PURE Healthy Diet score recommends, on average, daily intake of fruits and vegetables at 2 to 3 servings, nuts at 1 serving, and dairy at 2 servings. The score also includes 3 to 4 weekly servings of legumes and 2 to 3 weekly servings of fish. Possible substitutes included whole grains at 1 serving daily and unprocessed red meat or poultry at 1 serving daily.
Please stick with us for Discovery News after this short break. We'll be right back.
Are you a university, college, high school, private organization, NGO, individual professor, instructor or facilitator seeking to take advantage of the numerous benefits of online education? Look no further. The AAU eLearn Africa LMS is a great opportunity to begin your journey to online course development and creation for teaching, learning and training purposes. AAU eLearn Africa LMS, which is a partnership between the Association of African Universities and eLearn Africa, has made available ease to use online learning tools to all stakeholders within the educational ecosystem of the African continent. This is to enhance teaching and learning in the bid to expand online learning opportunities for students in Africa. The online platform is open and available for free to all stakeholders and facilitates virtual access to classes without needing the other tools such as Zoom, Microsoft Teams, among others. For more information, visit www.elearnafricalms.com or contact us via aaulms@aau.org or estherm@elearnafrica.com. Follow us on LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook at AAU eLearn Africa LMS.
You're welcome back on the AAU TV Midweek News, and in our discovery story, in a bid to address the issue of high cost of living and environmental concerns in Nigeria, a 31-year-old innovator and entrepreneur Mustafa Bakar Gajibo introduced his first innovative work by converting petrol-powered minibuses into solar-powered electric vehicles. He further moved on to designing and manufacturing of vehicles in his brand new workshop in Abuja, the federal capital of Nigeria.
The young entrepreneur dropped out of university to pursue his dream. He then started his company, Phoenix Renewable Energy. In 2017, he began building electric vehicles. Even if he progressively gained recognition and experience, he had to overcome challenges ranging from the sourcing of materials to funding. He dreams of expanding electric buses in his country and beyond. Speaking to local media Leadership NG, he said his company was contacted by people interested in his project from Ghana, Uganda, Kenya, Senegal, and Guinea-Bissau. In the interview, the young innovator explained that the model of bicycle produced by his company is designed for short-range intercity mass transit. It is a 7-seat bus that is fully designed and built locally. He further noted that his model covers distance of 210 kilometers on one charge, and it has an option for battery swapping, which saves charging time as well. Nigeria, one of Africa's top producers of crude oil, has a patchy supply of electricity, but Gajibo is undaunted. His feat enabled him to showcase another image of Borno State, located near the border with Chad, which has suffered decades of insurgency at the hands of Boko Haram fighters.
Welcome back, and it's time for sports and entertainment on AAU TV Midweek News. Stay with us.
Welcome to our sport and entertainment segment for today. My name is Chimaima Daladem Duche. In our sports news, a foundation set up by the African football president and billionaire businessman Patrice Motsepe stepped in on Wednesday to resolve a pay dispute between the South African Women's World Cup players and their international association, ensuring they will get on a plane and head to the tournament in Australia and New Zealand. The dispute caused by the entire squad to sit out a game on Sunday and was an embarrassment to the South African Football Association and the country bidding to host the next Women's World Cup in 2027.
In a groundbreaking move, the Patrice Motsepe Foundation, led by African soccer president and billionaire businessman Patrice Motsepe, stepped in on Wednesday to resolve a pressing pay dispute. This dispute had threatened to derail South Africa's Women's World Cup campaign in Australia and New Zealand. The dispute, which resulted in the entire squad boycotting a game last Sunday, was not only an embarrassment for the South African Soccer Association, but also for a country bidding to host the next Women's World Cup in 2027. Acknowledging the global gap in players' wages, South African Soccer Association President Danny Jordan considered the need for significant change. But to bring an end to the South African problem, the Motsepe Foundation intervened. At a press conference in Johannesburg, officials announced a generous donation of $320,000 to be shared among the 23 players traveling to the Women's World Cup. With this contribution, the standoff was resolved, paving the way for the players to embark on their journey. In addition to the foundation support, the players will also receive $30,000 each in appearance money from FIFA. However, the pay issue wasn't the sole concern that led to the South African players, reigning African champions, to challenge their national association. the players' union highlighted the absence of proper contracts or written agreements, leaving the players uncertain about their compensation for representing their country on the world stage. Adding to their frustration, the send-off game before the Women's World Cup took place at a small, lesser-known stadium outside Johannesburg, a far cry from the venues used for men's league soccer in South Africa. These grievances ultimately prompted the players to boycott the game against Botswana, resulting in an improvised team taking the field and suffering a 5-0 loss. Fortunately, the intervention by the Motsepe Foundation has provided a glimmer of hope, showcasing the commitment to addressing the disparities in women's soccer. As the South African team prepares to embark on their journey to the Women's World Cup, it serves as a reminder that progress is being made, but there is still work to be done.
In entertainment news, on Thursday, Paramount Pictures debuted the first teaser trailer for Bob Marley's biopic One Love, and the movie celebrates the life and music of an icon who inspired generation through his message of love and unity. Directed by renowned Marcus Green, the legendary biopic is set for release in January 2024.
In a historic moment, the life of the king of reggae, Bob Marley, will be brought to the silver screen for the very first time in 2024. Bob Marley's One Love, a biopic produced by Ziggy and Cedella Marley, the children of the legend, along with his widow, Rita, unveils the extraordinary journey of this iconic figure. Stepping into the director's role is Ronaldo Marcus Green, acclaimed director of King Richard. Bob Marley's music not only captivated audiences, but also elevated Jamaican culture to new heights. Through his songs, he championed harmony and respect, leaving an indelible mark on the world. Paramount Pictures, in captivating move, has revealed the trailer of the highly anticipated biopic. One Love will hit theaters on January 12, 2024, tracing the incredible trajectory of Robert Nesta Marley from his humble beginnings to the legendary status in the 1970s. Taking on the pivotal role of Marley is the talented Kingsley Ben Adder, joined by Lashana Lynch portraying his wife, Rita Marley. The legacy of the superstar, who left us at age 36 in 1981, continues to resonate, inspiring generations with his music and message.
That is all for our sports and entertainment. My name is Jimaima Deladem Duche. Up next is business news.
A job in higher education institution on the African continent? There is no need to go looking. The Africa Education Jobs Board will deliver available jobs to you via our platform. To start your search, visit our website. On our website, you will find variety of job postings classified by the sectors and professions they belong to. There are sections devoted to variety of career-related materials, as well as information on African countries. All information you require based on the job description and requirements are accessible on the site. If you are looking for a job in higher education on the continent, use our dedicated portal www.africa.edujobs.com. For job market updates, you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at AF Jobs Board.
Welcome back, and in our business segment, Africa, home to 1/6 of the global population, has a low energy consumption rate and emissions, accounting for less than 6% of global energy consumption. Additionally, the continent receives less than 2% of renewable energy investment globally. The Minister of State at the Ministry of Finance in Ghana, Honorable Mohammed Amin Adam, spoke at a conference organized by the European University and the Institute of Statistical, Social and Economic Research at the University of Ghana, sharing the relevance of climate finance as solutions to these challenges.
To address these challenges and realize the vision of sustainable energy transitions in Africa by 2030, we must mobilize substantial investments. The quantum of investment needed to facilitate this transition is staggering, but it is essential that we rise to the occasion. The International Energy Agency estimates that an annual investment of approximately 30 billion United States dollars is required in the sub-Saharan sub-region to achieve universal energy access. This investment will not only bridge the energy gap, but also create a ripple effect, stimulating economic growth and opening up new opportunities for our people. We must mobilize significant financial resources to build resilient and modern energy infrastructure. Investments in solar, wind, hydro, and geothermal energy projects will not only diversify our energy mix, but also create new economic opportunities and jobs for our people. Moreover, enhancing energy efficiency and promoting innovative technologies are crucial components of our journey towards sustainability. Investing in research and development, which our universities are engaged in, particularly in the development of energy storage solutions, smart grids, and electrified transportation, will foster a more robust and interconnected energy network.
Also, the president of the European University Institute, Mr. Renaud de Hoos, and other stakeholders at the conference spoke about the importance of partnerships and climate finance for Africa's sustainable energy transition.
We live in a world of interdependence, and the links between our respective situations are such that, well, we cannot make sense of them, let alone address the challenges that they may create by acting each in our respective compartments. Since a few years, the European University Institute has been engaged in the building of a research platform on Africa and has undertaken efforts to open its programs to a number of learners from this continent. These two types of activities cannot be developed without a partnership with Africa.
Under the United Nations framework on climate change, Convention on Climate Change, the developed countries are required to provide funding to the developing countries. And it was agreed that from 2020 onwards, there will be an annual contribution of 100 billion. And this funding is what I think should be channeled to some of these countries to mitigate the effect of the transition on their economies.
This funding challenge, right? You are bringing in private sector, you are looking at PPP structure, you are looking at impact financing, climate financing, just to ensure that you are able to even move the needle a little bit in terms of the funding requirements to meet our renewable energy transition aspirations.
I think that it's important that we leverage on the expertise of these financial institutions who have been able to package or at least support transactions or deals or projects in other developing countries. I think it's also important for a potential investor or lender to see how they can de-risk the potential risk, that has been identified. And once that is done, I think we'll also be able to attract funding.
That is all for business news. International news is up next.
On international front, France has banned the sale, possession and transport of fireworks during the upcoming Bastille Day festives following last month's rioting in the country. The government issued a decree on Sunday prohibiting pyrotechnic articles for the 14 July celebration that mark France's National Day. The ban, however, does not apply to official firework displays organized by local authorities.
France has banned the sale, possession and transport of all fireworks during the upcoming Bastille Day festivities. The government issued a decree on Sunday prohibiting pyrotechnic articles for the 14 July celebrations that mark France's National Day. The move comes after rioting sparked by last month's police killing of 17-year-old Nahel M. in Nanterre. However, the ban does not apply to official firework displays organized by local authorities. In order to prevent the risk of serious disturbances to public order during the 14th July festivities, the sale, carrying, transport and use of pyrotechnic articles and fireworks will be prohibited on national territory until 15 July inclusively, said the edict published in the French official gazette. And even in normal times, events in public squares and streets on the evening of Bastille Day have often been disrupted in previous years by young people throwing firecrackers. Prime Minister Elizabeth Borne said that, in addition to the restriction of fireworks, a massive security presence will be deployed in order to keep the peace and to protect the French during these two sensitive days. She told Le Parisien newspaper that many people were quite worried about the possibility of fresh incidents of violence during the national holiday. More than 3,700 people were taken into police custody in connection with the recent protests, including at least 1,160 minors, according to official figures. Bastille Day marks the storming of the Bastille prison in Paris more than 200 years ago, a key event in the French Revolution.
Thank you for staying with us on the AAU TV Mid-Week News. We'll do a quick recap at our headlines.
On higher education, African universities urged to increase research support for courses under social sciences, humanities and arts. And also, study reveals that not eating enough of some 6 healthy foods is associated with higher cardiovascular diseases and global deaths.
Now, a discovery story: Nigerian innovator builds solar-powered electric vehicles. And in our sports story, South Africa Women's World Cup players give it more money after standoff over pay disparity.
And now, thank you very much for sticking with us on the AAU TV Mid-Week News. Get interactive with us on our dedicated news hub via tv.aau.org. My name is Mamiukwa Utakwanyame.
And I am Ajiman Ochredako. Have a nice week and be hopeful.